do an introduction.
Hi, everybody. Hi. Good evening, everybody from Israel. Good evening.
Catch the Torah wave. Welcome, everybody, back to our Genesis class, live from Jerusalem with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg of the Noahide World Center. This is just a wonderful class. He's been teaching us in depth the Torah material as it's been passed down to the Jewish people, and we're learning so much, and I hope that everybody did their homework reading Genesis chapter 23 and 24. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful material. But first, I want to give a special shout out for a refuah shalema for our friend Lara Altanach down in Tampa Bay, Florida, who had a fall and she's all bruised up and got hurt. So she can't attend with us on the Zoom meeting, but she is going to be listening in on YouTube. So please keep Lara in your prayers for health. But let's just jump right in with the rabbi and see how he's doing. You ready to go live, Rabbi Goldberg?
I'm here waiting patiently. Everything's fine. And blessings to Lara and to everybody who is a bit ill. And Angela, look, you have Sandra and
Collins.
the Collins family also. So it's very good to see them.
Welcome.
And I see new people here. Fine, excellent. Good to see you all. Blessings from
Thank
Jerusalem.
you.
Blessings from Jerusalem. Fine. And Solvig, long time no see. Good to see you. We speak English, also a bit of German. No, little bit. Italo, last time you had a question, and I said that we're going to refer to the question at the beginning of this week, right? So do you want to repeat the question?
I forgot, sorry. So many questions.
It's good. The only thing, fine. If you remember, we'll address it. The only thing that I must say, let's say a word about Passover. Another 2 weeks from now, it's Passover. And one of the most important things that we have in Passover is that we need to ask a question. Now, it's already written down in the Bible that there are 4 different sons who are asking different questions. But our sages teaching us, this is what we call the Leil HaSeder, the night that we are organizing everything. And we're telling the story of going out from Egypt. It's a generation to generation for the last 2,400 years, or maybe even a bit more than that, since we went out from Egypt. And one of the most important points of this night is to know to ask questions. And our sages is saying like that, and this is a halacha side. Even if you're a very smart person, that you know all the Torah, everything you know, not only the Bible, the oral Torah, the Bible Torah, the written Torah, everything you know, and you're sitting by yourself, you need to start the night with questions and then to answer. And the reason for that is that, and this is one of the most fundamental things, the reason for that is if you want to knowledge new things, if you want to knowledge something, you need first of all to have a question. The question mark is what is opening your knowledge. So without questions, you won't be able really to learn. And this is a principle that we are living with. So it's good that you're asking questions, and it's good that you're forgetting some of the questions from time to time. It's okay, fine. And we are continuing on, and then we will see. So let's ask a few questions. We have, now we're going to read in chapter 20, I think it's 23, right? Yes, we came to chapter 23. We finished till there, and we're starting now to what we call Parsha, to weekly Parsha of Isaac, and the way that he's handling the world. And let's be very clear as a principle that there's a difference between the way that Abraham is dealing in this world by doing actions all the time, while Isaac is much more passive person. Let's call it like that. We will see it along all of the things that is happening around Isaac. He's very passive. He's almost not doing anything in an active way, not like Abraham. But the first chapter here is the flip coin, between Abraham and Sarah and Isaac and Rebecca. And the first thing is how Abraham is burying his wife. And there are two things that we need to learn here, two important things that we need to see, to look, to search a bit inside. One of them I mentioned already, that Abraham here is understanding, he is in a stage of understanding that he needs to conquer the land. He needs to buy it. He needs to show that he is the master of the land, even if it's causing him to buy the land. You know, God promised me, no, never mind. I'm going to buy it and everybody will know that it's mine. And I'm not going to steal it from anyone else. So this is in a principle, one of the things that we saw already, and we're going to see this again to show this a bit in the difference between Abraham and Lot and how they behaved about this land. But I want to start with something a bit else. So let's read for a moment from verse number 1 till verse number 7.
Okay, number 1. And the life of Sarah was 100 years and 20 years and 7 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kiriath Arba, which is in Hebron in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to eulogize Sarah and to bewail her. And Abraham arose from before his dead, and he spoke to the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stranger and an inhabitant with you. Give me burial property with you, so that I may bury my dead from before me. And the sons of Heth answered Abraham, saying to him, Listen to us, my lord. You are a prince of Hashem in our midst. In the choicest of our graves bury your dead. None of us will withhold his grave from you to bury your dead. And Abraham arose and prostrated himself to the people of the land, to the sons of Heth.
Okay, so we see here some sort of starting, I will call it, it's not an argument, it's a discussion, but it's a discussion of starting to debate one with each other exactly where Abraham is going to bury Sarah. And Abraham is saying about himself 2 points when he's describing himself. He's not saying that he's part of the people. He's saying about himself that he's a bit stranger and an inhabitant with you. Okay, so I'm not a full inhabitant with you. I'm a bit stranger with you. It's very interesting how Abraham is expressing himself or defining himself. And we need to realize that Abraham is saying, basically, that we are all in this world, not 100% part of this world. No, I think that we said it more than once. The philosophers, the big philosophers who started to question a lot of things, started 2,600 years ago with Thales, and then it continued on until Plato and Aristotle and all of those people, these giant people. They said that we have a question mark about everything in this world, except for one thing: we are for sure going to die, all of us. Interesting note. Okay, so Abraham is saying to them, he's hinting to them. He's saying to them, you know, we are a bit strangers in this world. Now, if you believe, if you understand that you are in this world as a stranger, that it's not that you're going to stay in this world forever, if you understand this and you live in this mindset, this is where you can feel a bit more, how we call it here, inhabitant here, also a bit. But if you think that you're too much inhabitant, who knows what will happen tomorrow? Okay, so this is something, it's a small note that Abraham is showing there inside. I want to show something a bit else. And for that, I want to compare 2 stories. The story of Abraham here, who's trying to buy a place where to bury his wife, and the story of Abraham giving food to the angels from chapter 18. In a moment, we're going to see the differences. Let's start with this story because we are now in chapter 23. So we need to read a bit more and to see what Abraham is asking and what is the answer they're giving him and what exactly is happening at the end. So please, let's go. First of all, what Abraham is asking. So it's
verse 8. Yep.
8 till 12. Again, we can see that the story is being framed. Okay.
Right.
Because we see that Abraham arose and prostrated himself to the people of the land. Okay, the sons of Heth. We remember that said it's not the one, and we'll see it again. Okay, and Abraham prostrated himself before the people of the land. So let's read again from this side to the, it's part, another part, and another part. So please read verse 8 till 12.
And he spoke with them, saying, If it is your will that I bury my dead from before me, listen to me and entreat for me to Ephron the son of Zohar, that he may give me the Machpelah, the double cave, which belongs to him, which is at the end of his field, for a full price. Let him give it to me in your midst for burial property. Now Ephron was sitting in the midst of the sons of Heth, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the hearing of the sons of Heth, all of those who had come into the gate of the city, saying, No, my lord, listen to me. I have given you the field and the cave that is in it. I have given it to you before the eyes of the sons of my people. I have given it to you. Bury your dead. And Abraham prostrated himself before the people of the land.
So he is offering to give Abraham this part of the land without any money, right? With his statement, it's a statement that is saying, take it for free. Everything is fine. Let's continue on and see how much it cost at the end. Okay, so we need to jump, but not to jump, to
Continue.
To continue a bit. Okay, let's continue a bit. We need to finish the chapter. So let's read it for a moment, please, from 13 till the end.
And Ephron replied to Abraham, saying to him, My lord, listen to me. A piece of land worth 400 shekels of silver. What is it between me and you? Bury your dead. And Abraham listened to Ephron, and Abraham weighed out to Ephron the silver that he had named in the hearing of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, accepted by the merchant.
Just a moment. Let's stop here for a moment, okay? We know how much is it? 400 shekel that is being accepted to everybody. I think for a moment, we're not speaking about our days. We're speaking about the days of almost 4,000 years ago, where each king or each territory had their own silvers, each territory had their own way how to scale things and everything. And if you want to give something that is worthwhile for all of the world, this is what's written down here, okay? I'm giving you weight that is silver, that it could be, how it says here,
400 shekels
of silver.
And he says, what is it between me and you? As if it's not very much.
No, but at the end, accepted by the merchant. This is a 400 shekel that is being accepted everywhere in this world. Speaking about a huge amount of money. So this guy, this Ephron, okay, he's starting with take it for free. At the end, he's very greedy, right? He's asking a lot of money. He could have asked also half of the price. After all, what is it? What is happening there in this part of the land? There's a cave, okay? And people are buried there. That's it. You're not going to, it's not the part of the land. It's not the farm. It's not the place where you can,
property,
nothing, just a cave. And he's asking the biggest amount that he can ask ever for something like that. And Abraham is saying, okay, fine, I'm giving it to you. Because Abraham already is in the mood, I'm going to buy this part. Why was Abraham so eager to take this part of the land? Who else is buried there? Do you all know? It's new for you. I was going to show you just a moment. So I didn't know that it's very new for you. Fair enough. Let's see Rashi for a moment. What is this Me'arat HaMachpelah, the double cave? It's not written down here. Okay, double. Read the word double. So, okay, so you will see.
A structure with double? An upper story over it. Another interpretation, it was called so because it was doubled with couples.
Who are the couples who were buried there? So we know Abraham and Sarah. Then it will be also Isaac and Rebecca. And then it will be also Jacob and Leah. Rachel is being buried somewhere else on the way, okay, outside from Israel. Who is the fourth couple? Do you know? The fourth couple is Adam and Eve.
Right. Lara said that on YouTube.
Fine. So Adam and Eve also buried there. And the meaning of this is that Abraham is eager to buy this specific part because it's showing that he is continuing the mission of Adam and Eve in the world. So we're going to be together in this place. In our tradition, everyone who is passing from this world is going through this cave. His soul is going through this cave. Okay, this is
Rabbi,
our
is there a monument there? Like I know there is one for the. I've seen pictures, but I got to come and visit it for sure. Visit you there, but
first of all, you all here it is. You all more than this is it. Can you see this? Okay,
yes.
This is it. Here it is. Okay. This is a monument. The monument is already from the time of the Horus, okay, who built up also the second temple. And it's a big monument. And for a very, very long time, until 1967, for 700 years, the Jews, can you see my mouse? Can
yes.
you see my mouse? The Jews had the possibility of only praying at these parts. That's it. Ooh. They were not allowed to go inside.
But inside, there's some beautiful pictures inside, and they actually have the casket of Abraham, right? And
this is the main hall. Yes, you're right. This is the main hall, and you can see here there are places to go inside. You know, rooms inside, and then you can see it's very close. You can't say that, but the truth is, I will tell you something that I'm not allowed to tell. There is a. You can see here the pictures of it. There is here it is. Now you can see something. This is for example, one of the places where underneath, okay, very down inside, it's one of the people. I think this is Abraham, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure. Maybe it's Isaac.
No,
but I want to show more. What I want to show is something else. Okay, this is the stairs of going up to this place. Let's go back to the main parts. Yeah, I think that you all need to come to Israel, and we're going to show you a few things that usually those who are coming through the Christian world are not going to those places at all. It's amazing. There is here, okay, this part. Can you see my mouse? Yes.
Yes.
To go upstairs here, you're going inside those tents. Okay, you're getting checked up that you don't have any rifle or something like that. Especially the Arabs. And so, unfortunately, they start being us and everything, they're killing us. Who knows? And then you can go inside. Those are the stairs that we saw before. But there is here in this part. Also, you can go from inside something. There is a place where you can go inside. Now, I'll tell you a story that happened 400 years ago. The Sultan came. The Sultan, you know, the big chief of the empire of Turkey, the Turkish empire. He came to this area, and his sword fell inside. Now, the legend is saying that those who are going inside are dying there. They can't come back. This is what the legend is saying. And this big Sultan sent one of his servants, and he died. So he asked himself, "I'm going to get back my sword. Well, I need it. No, it's important. It's also very, powerful sword. A very nice one. Everything else." So his servants told him, "You know what you need to do? Ask from one of the Hebrew rabbis to go inside." Now we're also not going inside. It's just for the good sake of going inside. It's to meet inside Eliezer, the servant of Abraham. You might even meet Abraham there, something, especially the rabbis that are dealing with the Kabbalah. But so they went to one of the big rabbis in those days. His name Rabbi Azulai. Okay, I have the book. It's not in this room, the other room. I have one of his books. It's a very important book. He did a lot of books from the Kabbalah side. And the Sultan said to him, "You need to go inside." He said to him, "But we're not going inside." He said, "I'm going to kill you." So he said, "Okay, I have no choice. I need to go inside." And he prepared himself for 3 days and everything else, and he went inside. And he came back and gave this Sultan the sword. And then the Sultan went and everything else was very nice. And then all the Jewish people came to him and said to him, what happened there? He said to them, look, another 3 days, I'm going to die. I gave it back because if not, there was a very big problem with the Hebrew in the Hebron. Therefore, they gave me permission to go back, but I have a few secrets to tell you to the sages here in this room. And for 3 days, he said a lot of secrets, and then he died.
Wow.
Okay, story that happened 400 years ago. So we have, I will say it like that. Also also in Jerusalem, okay, with the mosque where there was a temple, there's also hiding all sorts of rooms, and there we have people that went inside to those places. Also today, that we know them, that we're alive, we know exactly. But here, nobody went inside. And for 600 years, we were not allowed to pray inside, but only outside. Today, I will tell you another story, okay? In 1967, the Israeli troops came to this area, and then the general that was in charge on this place, he called that the Mufti, the main person who is in charge from the Arabs, will come here to him from the Waqf. So this Mufti came, and he said to him, I want the keys for opening this place for us, for the Jews. So this Mufti said to him, the Jews are not allowed to go inside. You're allowed to pray only here. And there was there with him, with this big general, one of our important rabbis. Okay, his name is Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu. He passed away 20 years ago. He also gave, by the way, a nomination to Rabbi Sherki to deal with the Noahide people, but he was also the chief rabbi of Israel. And he was there also. He started to scream on the Mufti. He said to him, you are only the son of the servant of Hagar. We are the kids of the master of Sarah. Give us the keys. So this Mufti said to him, you're right, I'm sorry. And he gave him the keys. This is the story. He gave him the keys. And since then we are here, part of this, we are holding this place. Now everybody is very, how do you say it, unsatisfied that we didn't do the same thing in the Temple Mount. That nobody said to the Muslims there, no, fair enough, go away, we are here back. We came back home. But unfortunately in Jerusalem, we didn't do that, and this is why we have still a lot of debates, but hopefully soon it will come. So this is a few things about this monument of this, the place of Abraham. And we have also a place that is showing that it was also Adam and Eve there, that also Adam and Eve are being buried there. And fair enough. So we have a place. And now we saw, this moment, we saw also that this guy, Ephron in the Hebrew language, the word Ephron, remember that we have all the time explanation about the name, because the name is also the purpose in life. And the word Ephron is coming from the word ground and dust. So it basically says someone that is a very, not from the highest level of the society. But the word Sohar is the light, and if you remember, there is also the word Sohar in the ark. There is a window that is showing or bringing the light inside the ark. The name is Sohar. So Ephron, this guy that wasn't from the most important people of the area, because Abraham needed him, he from nothing became something. Ephron became a Tzohar, became something very big. And this is also being hinted here that Ephron was in verse number 7, we said, please read here. Now, Ephron was sitting. Please read
Ephron was sitting. It is spelled defectively without a vav. It can therefore be read in the past tense, meaning that he had just sat, Mizrachi Be'ir Yitzhak, on that very day they had appointed him as an officer over them because of the importance of Abraham, who needed him. He rose to an exalted position.
And this is his name. Ephron is nothing, dust, the ground that became a light. Everybody said, oh, Abraham needs you. Come, sit down. Be part of the most important people here in this area. But we see also that Ephron is speaking very highly. Take it for free. Everything is for free. And doing just the opposite. Let's jump for a moment to chapter 18. And let's see what is happening there with Abraham to understand the difference. And then we will also connect a bit chapter 18 with this chapter of 23. Now we see here that Abraham, this is a story that we learned already, okay, that Abraham, please read for a moment, verse number 1 and 2.
Now the Lord appeared to him in the plains of Mamre, and he was sitting at the entrance of the tent when the day was hot. And he lifted his eyes and saw, and behold, 3 men were standing beside him. And he saw, and he ran toward them from the entrance of the tent, and he prostrated himself to the ground.
Fine. And now we know that Abraham is accepting others, and we spoke about this for a few times, that one of the most important things that we are trying to imitate the behavior of God, who accepted us in his world. You know, he withdraws himself backwards so we can appear here and we can be in this world. The same thing, Abraham is accepting people inside to his tent. And this is one of the ways how to bring things. And now let's see for a moment what Abraham is offering them. Okay, 3, 4, and 5.
3, and he said, my lords, if only I have found favor in your eyes, please do not pass on from beside your servant. Please let a little water be taken and bathe your feet and recline under the tree. And I will take a morsel of bread and sustain your hearts. Afterwards you shall pass on, because you have passed by your servant. And they said, so shall you do as you have spoken.
So what exactly is he offering them? A bit of water and a bit of bread, right? Not more than that. Let's look for a moment what did he give them? Okay.
Yeah, and Abraham hastened to the tent.
Yes.
To Sarah, and he said, hasten 3 seah of meal and fine flour, knead and make cakes. And to the cattle did Abraham run, and he took a calf, tender and good, and he gave it to the youth, and he hastened to prepare it. And he took cream and milk and the calf that he had prepared, and he placed them before them, and he was standing over them under the tree, and they ate.
So we see here that Abraham from one side is offering very little things,
and then
but
he
he's giving them, whoa, did you eat once a cow, a full cow? Can 3 people eat a full cow, a full cattle here? No, it's giving them milk and cattle and breads and cookies and not cookies, how do you call it, cakes and everything else. You just offer them a bit of water and a bit of... So we see here that righteous people are speaking little bits and doing much more than that. While Ephraim wasn't so righteous, he is speaking a large words, but he's doing very small. This is one of the things that we need to learn in a moral behavior, how to behave and what to do. And it's also hinting here a bit, it's hinting here about the Machpelah, about this place, place where he's going to bury Sarah. Where do I see the hint? The hint is that we see here that and the cattle, did Abraham run? Okay, who ran? Who was running? Who was running? So some people are saying that Abraham is running, okay? But our sages are saying, it's very, very, very old midrash, okay, that we have, that the cattle was running, okay? He himself, he ran. To where exactly he ran? So in Hebrew, the word habakar is the cattle, bakar is not the cow, the, how do you call the male of the cow? Forgot the name. The male of the cow, the bull. Okay, the bull. But this word is with its 4 letters. Okay, it's also the letters of the word kever, of the word burying. And our sages are saying that the cow, this bull, ran away towards the place where Abraham suddenly saw Adam and Eve there, this cave, this specific cave, and he said to himself, this is where I want to be buried next, when I will die. And he took it from there, and he came back and he gave them the cow, the bull. So we have here also a hint that it's related one to each other. This is what is being explained in the Turim. Okay, one of our great commentators. It's not in this specific internet version, but it's also one of the midrashim that we have. So we have here already a hint that there is connection between those two stories, where we see from one side Abraham, who is speaking a very little bit, but is doing much more than what he spoke, and the other side is Ephron, who is speaking a very highly situation, explanation, whatever it is, he's doing much less than that, and he's very greedy and wants much more. So this is a moral explanation of the differences in how to behave with people. Always to say less and do more than what you're promising, and not to promise a lot and to do less than what you promise. Not to be one who is saying a lot about himself. So this is also another thing that we saw. And I'm jumping back to chapter 23, just 23. A moment, so we'll finish it. How many people are bothering today? I'm in the middle. I'm sorry.
I'm getting lots of bleeping here too.
No, I'm going to close it. That's it. That's enough. Okay. But by the way, it was related also to the English department. Okay. Now it will be only on the phone, so it won't bother us. So at the end of this story, okay, this is what is happening here. Now look what is happening with this portion of the land. So read from verses number 17 till the end of the chapter.
17. And so the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, facing Mamre, was established as Abraham's possession. This included the field and the cave that was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, which were within its entire border around. It was to Abraham as a possession before the eyes of the sons of Heth, in the presence of all who had come within the gate of his city. And afterwards Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah, facing Mamre, which is in Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave within it were established to Abraham as burial property purchased from the sons of Heth.
So we have here twice the word established. You see here, established, and we have it also again in verse number 20, established. Let's see in a moment how it's written down in Hebrew. In Hebrew, it's written down twice in the word vayakum. What is vayakum? Stood up. Now, I'm asking you, when I'm saying stood up, stand up, okay? What is the meaning of this? It's going one step ahead. You know, human being can stand up. The animals don't have the ability to stand. The maximum that they have the ability is to be on four legs, but their head is on the same level of their kidneys and on the same level of their body. The human have the possibility of standing up. And now we said here twice, this word stood up. The stood up is, it became something much bigger and much more stronger, much more established than before. Before it was just some sort of a cave or something like that. Maybe Adam and Eve were buried there. They are buried there, but it's not something important. Now it came to another stage. It stood up to another stage where it's not only Adam and Eve. Now we have the next stage of the world, or the next part, or the next step of the world towards the Messiah. Till now, everything was stopped. Now we're starting to continue the way to the Messiah. And Abraham realized that he is supposed to do an action, not just to say that it's his. And I want to show another difference between Abraham and how he is behaving and Lot. But for that, we need to jump again to chapter 13. If I remember correctly, yes, it is 13. Let's see for a moment what is happening there and what exactly is the fight between Lot and between Lot and Abraham. Okay, let's read for a moment verses number 1 and 2, and I will remind us all where we're speaking about. This
and
is chapter
Abraham
13.
came up.
Yes.
Abraham came up from Egypt, he and his wife, and all that was his, and Lot with him to the south. And Abraham was very heavy with cattle, with silver, and with gold.
Abraham is a very rich wealthy men, right? Fair enough. And then we have we say also that in verse number 5, please read verse number 5.
And also Lot, who went with Abram, had flocks and cattle and tents.
So we have two wealthy people. Now, when you have two wealthy people, it might be that you're going to have fights. And we remember already that you spoke that in Genesis, we have all the time fights between brothers. And this is what is happening in verse number 8. Okay, and Abraham said to Lot, please let there be no quarrel between me and between you, between my
herdsmen and between your herdsmen, for we are kinsmen.
We are kinsmen, and here we said because anashim achim anachu, we are brothers. This is the exact wording. But I want to understand for a moment what in verse 6 and 7, what exactly is happening? What exactly is the fight about? Please read verse 6 and 5 and 7.
6, and the land did not bear them to dwell together, for their possessions were many, and they could not dwell together. 7, and there was a quarrel between the herdsmen of Abraham's cattle and between the herdsmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanites and the Perizzites were then dwelling in the land.
What is the relation? What is it? What is the story telling us about the Canaanites and the Perizzites? Why do we need to know that they were there also? What is this adding to the story here? Why the Bible is trying to tell us? What exactly was the fight between them? So let's read for a moment Rashi, and we will be surprised, especially after we already know what is happening in chapter 24. So let's read for a moment Rashi. There was a quarrel. Please read this.
Okay, and there was a quarrel, since Lot's herdsmen were wicked, and they pastured their animals in the fields belonging to others. Abraham's herdsmen rebuked them for committing robbery, but they responded, "The land was given to Abram, who has no heir, so Lot will inherit him, and therefore this is not robbery." But Scripture states, "And the Canaanites and the Perizzites were then dwelling in the land, and Abraham had not yet been awarded its possession."
So we have here something amazing, okay? We have here something really amazing. Think about this for a moment. God promised Abraham this land, right? We saw this in the beginning of chapter 12. God promised him, I'm going to give you this land. I'm going to give you kids. I'm going to give you this land. And basically, this is the land of Abraham. Who is taking advantage of taking this land without paying anything? Lot. Okay, people are saying, Abraham doesn't have any kids, so we're going to inherit this place. It's ours. Go away, those people. We can steal from them. We can take it from them without any questions. This is ours. Abraham is much more, sensitive. I will call it like that. It's not ours yet. Okay. Still, the Canaanites and the Perizzites are still dwelling in the land. If we want to take it, Abraham is teaching us in verse number 20, in chapter number 23, we need to buy it. Let me tell you a story, a real story that happened 150 years ago until today. We have in almost every Jewish home in the diaspora a very nice blue box, and it's called the Keren Calamity Israel. Okay, the Jewish agency of Israel, and each person is putting every day, every 2 days, every 5 days, his kids putting something in this blue box. 1 coin, 2 coins, 3 coins, whatever it is, and after a while, he's going to the place where they gathering all the coins, and the Hebrew nation brought almost, I will say something like 3/4 of the land of Israel in the last 150 years. I will say another very important point. All of the places that is called the West Bank settlements, the land is being brought from the Arabs. I know that it's a secret. Nobody knows about it because we're occupying it. The Hebrew nation usually believe that we need to buy the land, not just to occupy it because we won the war. It's true that we also won the war. This is something else. But this is exactly what Abraham is teaching us. It's ours. We need to take it. If you want to take it from someone, you're not taking it because you're saying to him, go away. You're buying it. You're conquering it by the way of worshiping the land, working in the land, and buying it from people who earned it till now, who hold it till now. And this is one of the most important, amazing points that we're learning here in chapter 23, where while Lot, his nephew, and how he behaved about this place, and if you look and you're trying to compare this to Abraham, okay, in chapter 23, and how he behaved to this place. This is mine. God gave it to me. And I'm going to buy it. I'm going to, that everybody will know that this is mine. I'm not going to conquer it or to get it as a present or to do it in a way that is, some way, and that you will manage to next time, another few years, to say that you're going back, you're withdrawing back what you promised to give me. No, we're buying it. It's not we're trying to deal in a sensitive way and in an honest way with people who are living here till now. So this is, and it's true. This is it. I know that usually, I will say it like that. Usually in the media, people are trying not to say always the truth. I don't know if you know that, but it's happening. Okay, but the truth is that this is what is happening in the last 150 years. The Hebrew people from all over the world is putting money, to buy the land of Israel. So it's also true that we had, unfortunately, a few wars about the land and everything else, and we conquered it. It's true, but it doesn't say, it's not because of that we're not buying the places where we are supposed to live. My father had a very good friend. His name is I forgot his name. It's a good friend of my father, not mine. Rabbi Riskin. I don't know if you've heard about Rabbi Riskin. Rabbi Riskin, they grew up together, and Rabbi Riskin, this rabbi, in 1977, he spoke with the Lubavitcher Rabbi. Okay, you've all heard about the Lubavitcher Rabbi, and he spoke with him, and the Lubavitcher Rabbi told him, yes, you can. It's a good idea. Go with your community of New York and build up a new city in Israel. And on the airplane, and he spoke with the Prime Minister Menachem Begin in those days, 77, speaking about 77, 78. At the beginning, they were against it, but at the end, they let him to do that. And today, it's a very big city in Israel. Its name of the city is Efrat, and it's in the West Bank, and they bought all the land there. So again, I'm saying, all what people are saying or speaking about the West Bank, usually, most of the places, I think, if not 100% of the places, well, most of the places, 90% of the places, were being bought. The land was being bought from the people that earned this place. And this is because we don't believe that you only need to conquer it because you won the war, but you need also to have, to buy it in the right way from the people. We're learning it also in this specific chapter, where we see how Abraham is behaving in opposed to how the Lot's family, the nephew of Abraham, is behaving, and what is the right behavior that we have. It is also true that in the laws of the world, I will call it like that, okay, the laws of these, if you know, it's in Belgium, I think where it is, Belgium, and where is this court of the world, right? The Hague Supreme Court. There are also laws of the world. And in the laws of the world, if one country, for example, let's go for example now, I will give it an example, a live example. The Russian is attacking Ukraine. Okay, let's say now, for example, that Ukraine will go back and attack them in Russia. So in the general war world, there is a law that whatever the Ukraine will conquer from Russia, it's theirs. This is the laws, but you can check this out. This is the laws of the world. So the same thing happened in 1967, where we were being attacked, the Hebrew nation, and we captured it. Even though we are trying to buy everything that is that we want to settle there. It's true also on the other side that the laws of the Arabs is that if you will sell a piece of land to an Israelite, they're going to kill you. It's true law. It's happening. It's amazing to think about this, for example. By the way, it's not the only awful law that they have. One of the laws that they have also, that every person who killed Jewish people, his family is getting every month salary from the Ashraf party, okay, from the government of Ramallah. So, and it's driving them to kill more people because they know if they will kill someone, a Jewish person, they're going to get a salary for the family till the end of their life, till the end of the family life, no, not to their life. Usually they're getting killed when they're trying to kill people, even if they manage it. So those are the laws of the Arabs, fair enough. We're speaking about the behavior of the Jewish nation. And I will summarize with this point with a understanding that as more that the Hebrew nation will be in their homeland, this will bring the words of God back to the world, because God, who wants to bring back his prophecy to the Hebrew nation, he wants to see the Hebrew nation being settled in the Hebrew land. And then he will bring back the prophecy. And the reason why we want to live in the whole area of the Hebrew region is because we want to bring to the world back the prophecy and the connection with God and how to behave, the right exact way how to behave to bring the world to a better stage. It's not, just some sort of we fell on our minds to be in Israel, but it's part of our destiny to be here. Questions till now? Things that you want to know. Don't hesitate and feel comfortable to ask good questions, and everything is fine. I know that I went inside a bit to political issues, but I think that you will manage, all of you, with this. Fair enough. Yes.
Rabbi, I've got Thomas on YouTube. He was asking or inquiring, is there any tradition that knows who the two angels were that were with Hashem? The three that came and met Abraham. Is there any description, any explanation to who the two additional were?
First of all, it must be clear. There was God and there were three angels. Okay, it's not that it was God with two angels like the Trinity.
Right. No form.
That is might be understood mistakenly. It was God and there were three angels. Now those three angels, yes, it's written down who exactly they were. One of them came to repair Abraham. One of them came
to bless Sarah Abraham to be pregnant. Yes.
To bless Sarah to be pregnant, and one of them came to rescue Lot from Sodom and Gomorrah. So there are names for each one of them, and one of the things that we also learned that it was some sort of a prophecy that Abraham saw. Okay, Abraham saw.
That's right. Prophecy. Yeah, you went through this when we went through 18, and that was probably about 2 months ago, Thomas. If you go back in our Genesis class about 2 months ago and find where we discussed Genesis 18, I think you'll get some more answers. It was a beautiful session where you did make it crystal clear that it was in a vision somewhat. Yes.
Fine. Yes, more questions.
Rav.
Yes.
I was checking my notes, and when I saw last week, I asked you, you told me it would take like 7 years to learn about it. I believe it was about the Chaldeans living in Ur, about Nimrod being from Ham and ruling in Ur. Was that the question?
This is it's something that we spoke about. Yes, I explained this a bit. Nimrod was the first person in the world who conquered people under him. Until Nimrod, there was no one who dared to say that he's controlling someone else. Nimrod was the first one who decided to do that. Now, we need to understand why Nimrod did it. Nimrod wasn't just a small rebellion, I will call it like that. Nimrod, in those days, they were asking themselves a very interesting question, because there were no miracles to then yet, okay, at all. There were no miracles. There was only the nature that flew up, every day, every year, as everything was normal. And suddenly, there was a very big crisis of the flood. And they asked themselves, how can we prevent the flood? In their understanding is that the flood came to this world because the alien had a lot of fight there, up there in the heaven. Therefore, there was the flood. Or the aliens, God, maybe there's one God, maybe there are more than one God, something like that. This is what they were not really sure. And Nimrod said, the way to do this rebellion against, we need to be united together. And this is why he started to do the Babylon Tower, where for years, think about this, it was for 200 years, this project, until God spread them over and everything else. The Babylon Tower basically tried to unite everybody together on one side. On the other side, they didn't care to any person. Okay, the Midrash is saying that when a brick fell down, they were crying, when will come the other one? But when someone fell down and died, they didn't cry. Okay, so another one will come up here to help us. So it was some sort of rebellion against, it was demolishing the men. And who invented this idea that everybody will be together, this togetherness, and not fighting one with each other, the reason why the flood came? It was Nimrod. Now, Abraham rebelled against the rebellion. So Nimrod was the first one who conquered people under him and decided he is a king and the others. And Abraham was against Nimrod. This is why Nimrod was all the time trying to kill him, to kill Abraham, because he was the one who said, this is not the way of organizing the world. Now, we learned it in a very profound way, I think 2 years ago, something like that. Maybe we need to do, reminders, to remind ourselves a bit about the things that we've learned, that you can also see this also find it on the YouTube that we have. Yes.
I asked Dan about those videos, and he told me, I couldn't find them, but he gave me some documentaries. And you have the Sumerians, about the Sumerians and the Akkadians. How does that fit in with
just a moment. I'm asking everybody to applause. Mazal tov, Nathan, yay, big mazal tov. They had a.
Hey everyone!
Woo!
Yeah, we wanted to say hi and introduce everyone to Nava.
Very nice, Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. Yes, congratulations, guys. Yes, so beautiful.
Thank you guys so much for the prayers, and we heard you guys mentioning it last session.
Oh yeah,
and we want to thank you guys so much. And everyone's
beautiful.
Healthy. Mom's healthy.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Hey, yeah. So thank you guys so much.
And such a great session today, Rabbi. It's so great. Yeah, there's so much land law stuff going on
Connections,
in the Torah that's still very relevant today. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, and actually we were talking about that we haven't really heard, like you were saying, in the media for sure. Yeah. You don't hear that's what's happening. I did have a question about that. You were saying that the land's being bought
regardless,
and so there's a lot of private ownership. Is there a way that the ownership is kind of becoming one? Is there like an entity that's keeping it or guaranteeing that it stays in the hands of the nation of Israel, or
Yeah.
or could it potentially be sold back? You know, like
Of course, it could be sold back, but basically, it's for it's under the it's one situation of the nation.
mhm.
So say it's very we can go inside to this. It's very interesting how they did it with the law and everything else, but it is under the government of the Jewish nation, Jewish agency, and it's buying parts and portions of the land for the Jewish state and for the Jewish community. And it's not something that it could be sold back so fast. It could be, but it's a very complicated situation.
Wow.
I see.
Rabbi, can you
Yes.
take a question from YouTube?
Yes, Italo, you're in the middle of we'll return back. Yes, please.
Lara is asking, she says she's curious to know why Lot didn't put an end to his herdsman's aggression. Why didn't Lot make the decision to just, tell his herdsmen to back off? I guess because they were just taking grazing for free at other people's expense, right?
The truth is that this is where we're starting to see that Lot is only an imitation of Abraham and not the main part of Abraham. Now, it's not. I said it. It's one of the principles when we are learning the Bible.
Right.
We know
sure.
today the continuous of the story, but at the time that it started or that it happened, the continuous of the story could have gone to other directions. So there was a very good question. Lot is going to continue the dynasty of Abraham, or Abraham will have a son. When Lot started to behave in this way, because he didn't say to his people, he didn't say to his people, stop it, or it's not the way to behave and everything else. So then we're starting to realize that Lot is not 100% righteoushood, a full righteoushood to continue the dynasty of Abraham. And this is where the separation is coming. So Abraham will keep his back, when Lot is going to be captured in the big war of the 4 kings against the 5 kings in chapter 15. So Abraham is going to rescue him and everything else. And Abraham is also keeping his back after that, before when God is going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, he's remembering Lot, okay? So it's not that we're not going to throw Lot all the way outside, but he's not going to be the mainstream. And because of his behavior. So you're asking why? There are people who think that this is how to behave. God promised me, so I need to do it. Now, still, you need to be in this world also in a moral behavior, and not only to be right, but also to behave right, to bring the right behavior in the right way. Now, I know that part of the things that I told here are not too much in the media. Fair enough. Not always, the media is not always saying the truth. The truth is that there is a very big coalition against the Hebrew nation coming back to their homeland. Again, there is a very big coalition against the Hebrew nation who are coming back to their homeland. The coalition is coming from the Christian world. The coalition is coming from the Muslim world. There's a big coalition against it and trying to demolish and to say how much the Hebrew nation is not good, is not okay, and everything else. So not everybody is saying the full truth, because as more that the Hebrew nation will be established in the right position, more and more people are going to move from the Christian to become a Noahide. So it's a problem. So there's a lot of people with a lot of money and a lot of effort who's trying to do the maximum to say how much of the Hebrew nation is not is not good, even if they're saying lies. Yes, more questions, more things that you want to ask.
So in wartime, what I'm seeing, like I'm just looking at Ukraine. There's a lot of Jewish or Hebrew people there, and they seem to want to come back to Israel, and that is what is happening. They're coming back. Is this what they are understanding, that this is what Hashem wants?
Again. Yes, part of it. Yes. You're right. This is part of it.
Because war brings people either back to their land or disperses them. It's one or the other. How do you? This is just my thought. This is just my thought that wherever there are Hebrew people and there's war, they always go back to Israel. Not all of them, but those who see that, yes, we need to go back. Yes.
I agree with you that I will say a very hard thing. Okay, let me say a very hard thing. We didn't learn it yet, and we're not learning things about Passover. But it says loud and clear that Rabbi Dov, welcome. Good to see you.
Shalom Aleichem, everyone. Peace to everyone.
It says loud and clear that only 1 of 5 people went out from Egypt towards the promised land. When Moses came and said to all of the Hebrew, or to say to Pharaoh, let my people go, 1 of 5 went out. The rest stayed there. You're saying to yourself, it's crazy. No, we know today in the history, okay, how the step went inside and the history, that those who went out came to the promised land after a generation, and they conquered everything, and they lived there for 1,200 years and everything else. So you're saying to yourself, why 4 parts of the people, of the families, stayed in Egypt? Now it's a verse, it's written down, okay? I will show you for a moment, just that you will see it, okay? Let's see it for a moment. Where is it? This is where we were, right? Yes. Let's go for a moment. Look, I'm going to Exodus because it's a bit related it's a bit related with the things. To chapter for that. Please, you see here, it came to pass when Pharaoh let the people go. So please read verse number 18, Dan.
Yeah. So God led the people around by way of the desert to the Red Sea, and the children of Israel were armed when they went up out of Egypt.
So it says here the children of Israel were armed, okay? But in Hebrew it says v'chamushim. Chamushim, it's 1 of 5. So let's read for a moment Rashi. Tonight we're seeing a lot of Rashi. It's okay. By the way, it also says here, you see, and it will come to pass if your son asks you the future, saying, "What is this?" And you'll say, "With the mighty hand did all the Lord take us out from Egypt." You see, it starts with question. We spoke about this in the beginning. So, but never mind here. I want to show it here. Just a moment. Okay, look here. It's amazing. It's amazing note. But let's see it for a moment. Okay.
I'm sorry, Rabbi. I got a troll on the YouTube
It is.
chat.
Another interpretation, please read this.
Another interpretation means divided by 5, meaning that 1 out of 5 Israelites went out, and 4/5, the parts of the people, died during the 3 days of darkness.
They didn't want to go out, so they died. Now, let me ask you for a moment. Let's go for a moment. Now, I'm going to say hard things. And it's not an explanation for the, I'm saying from the beginning, it's not an explanation for the Holocaust. But let's look for a moment. What happened 100 years ago? 100 years ago and another 6 years, Lord Balfour, who believed in the Bible, conquered the Hebrew land. The England people with the Australian people conquered the Hebrew lands. And they stated, a very big state, okay, the Lord Balfour state, we are only holding this place, so the Hebrew people will come back to build up their homeland. How many people from the Hebrew people listen to this thing? From 18 million people that had Jewish people all over the world, only something like, when the Holocaust started, okay? We had here only something like 400,000 people. 18 million, 400,000 people. After the Holocaust, 6 million people died in the Holocaust. 12 million people were around the world. In Israel, we had already 600,000 people, the same number when we went out from Egypt. So we see here again that God is doing something very similar in history. He is calling the people, he is letting the people to come back to Israel. And those who don't want, in his ways, I'm not saying, I mean, it's not an explanation for the Holocaust, but we see in the history something similar. So you're asking me, Angelica, now about the people who are coming back to Israel. God is trying to wake us up in all sorts of ways. There are those who are coming back. There are those that another 2, 3, 4 generations will look backwards and will say, God has his own ways. What is happening with the people who are not listening to him? By the way, he's doing the same thing with the non-Jewish people. So we are on the same level, but we are all together here. In this bucket, we are all together in the same bucket here. So it's okay. Feel comfortable. Rabbi Dov, you want to say something?
I don't want to interrupt the conversation.
No, we're in the question time, so you can say something. Yes.
Well, I heard Angelica's question about the Jews and that are stuck there in the terrible tragedy that's going on there in the country Ukraine. And you asked Angelica whether they believe in God and this is where they have to go. It's true that Jews, when they're in trouble, they look to Israel as their homeland. No matter where they're citizens of the world, they realize that the Jewish people have this kinship spirit of being all one big family, which is what we are. We're all the Bnei Yisrael, which means the children of Israel, and Israel is Jacob. So we all consider ourselves descendants of Jacob, the biblical Jacob. And it means that the Jews feel this way. So when Jews are in trouble, they realize home is Israel. And this is where they'll be protected and always accepted and received. The thing is, though, is that as with many Jews that remained behind what was once the Iron Curtain, and I think you have to be over a certain age, and I think many of us here in this Zoom are still of an age that we remember what the Iron Curtain was. So we know that the Soviet doctrine, communism, basically looked very, very downwards and very negatively at any religious belief. They saw it as divisive instead of seeing it as it should be, as inclusive and of actually bringing love between all human beings. So the Jews there also, many of them never had the opportunity to receive a Jewish education and to believe in the destiny as a religious value, religious belief. So I would say most of them are coming home just out of a feeling of kinship and possibly also desperation. But we hope that when they come here and they recognize and they see from close up what is happening in Israel, and that many people here believe at different levels and different degrees that the Jewish people have to fulfill the destiny that God placed upon us and expects of us, and what are all our patriarchs and matriarchs. And I'm talking about my grandparents who, some of them were from the Ukraine, some of them are from Belarus at the time, I'm talking about 100 years ago. They believe that the Jewish people, we have a mission to spread the word, spread the light, and spread spirituality. So hopefully when they see it for the first time, maybe in their lives, they see it up close and what Israel is managing to produce with God's help, hopefully they'll change their attitude. So we'll take them any way that they want to come here. We want the Jews here.
Mm-hmm.
God willing soon.
Fair enough. It's yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
Could I ask Rabbi Goldberg?
Yes.
So how does the Noahide movement and that fit into the Jews coming back to Israel, and is there space for Noahides there in Israel, and is that part of the prophecy in that?
It's a good question about the Noahide. I think that I said it more than once. First of all, we need to have these. There are 2 points here that we need to address with this question. Okay, point number 1 is when exactly halachically side, you can say that the Noahide is what we call a ger toshav. This is something only after most of the people of Israel will be here, and we will restore back a lot of the points halachically that we are not doing yet. Who knows? It might be another 10 years, it might be another 5 years, it might be another 20 years. It's very soon, I think. And now, after we're passing the halachic side, there's also what we call the nation side, okay? The countryside. And I'm sure that one of the things that will happen is that the country will work more and more in the halachic side. But until then, there's also the way how to come to this country. Now, we today is trying to speak with the authorities. We spoke, not trying. We spoke with the authorities more than once that they will give preference after they're giving preference to Jewish people. You know, someone that is a grandchild of a Jewish person, or someone who is the son of a Jewish person, and everything else. So he's always have a preference to come to Israel. And we are trying very much to speak with the authorities to give preference to the Noahide people from Russia, from Ukraine, and from other places of the world. Is it always working for us? Not always. I can tell you something here, it's a secret. Don't speak about this too much and loud and everything else. That there is a group of Arabs, okay, in Israel. It's a secret. Danny putting it on the cloud, it's a bit dangerous for them. There's a group of Arabs. Bring me up, but it's a big secret.
Right,
especially for them,
yeah.
especially for them.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, our friend Lara is also saying we all cannot fit into Israel. You got to understand the size. Israel is a tiny sliver. I mean, I live in Canada, which is a vast expanse of land. We're the second largest country in the world, and it is, we've got we got what 7,000 kilometers, I think, between coast to coast almost, and it's just huge. But when you get into Israel, you're dealing with something that is just, it's only several hundred kilometers across. Is it 1,000 kilometers from north to south? And I think it's only about 150 kilometers wide. I think it's.
Oh no, wait! I think it's 900. Pardon me, Dan. I think it's 900 kilometers from Metula down to Eilat.
Right.
Approximately.
Not even 1,000. Yeah.
Right, and from Jordan, the Jordan River to the Mediterranean
to the ocean.
Sea,
yeah.
I think is only about 60 kilometers.
Yeah, I knew it was less than 100. I knew it was less than 100. So you're dealing with something like size of New Jersey or something, right?
It stretches, no? Doesn't it stretch?
Yeah, it is. For the Jewish people, it stretches. Very nice, Italo. You're more than right. Eretz Atzvi. It stretches. It's the same thing, by the way, with the promise of the Beit HaMikdash, the Temple Mount.
Temple?
Yes, where you're coming and it's very narrow with everybody standing. But when you bending down, when you're burying in front of God, it stretches and everybody have place. It is some sort of a miracle, but hopefully we will be there. It's sure that it stretches. I will say, you reminded me now. There's how it happened. Balfour declared that the Jewish people are supposed to come back here. Now, in 1935 or something like that, they had a very big conference here that named Sir Peel, something like that, came here to Israel. And he said that this country is already full with people, and you can't bring any more people inside. And there were only something like less than 400,000 people. Okay, now today we have around 10 million people around here, and we have more place for more people. So as you said, it's a bit stretching itself. But yes, everybody will be able to come and visit Israel. This is for sure, for 10 days to come to visit Israel, 20 days, something like that. We have all sorts of tools about this thing, and you're more than welcome. The Unity Tour, Jerusalem Unity Tour, can come and visit us. And the places that usually are not being tooled at all. For example, the Herodion. Who is visiting the Herodion? Oh, you see, Dov is showing us one of the places next to his home. Yes. Okay. Fair enough. Next week, hopefully we will have next week, even though it's really very close
It'll
to
be
Passover.
it'll be after Passover, won't it? Just
right
after.
No, next week it's the week before Passover, and then we will skip a week, and then we will have after Passover.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So is that it for today? We're going to call it a day, but we will be back next week, same time, but the week after that is Passover, so we will not be holding a class during a holy day.
Fair enough. There's one lady here that it's the first time I'm seeing her. Zechia, this is your name?
Oh, Zekia, yeah, she's a regular from Lima, Peru. Yeah, she attends a lot of our broadcasts.
Great.
Shalom, Rabbi. Thank you
Good
for
to see you.
letting me join to the room.
Of course, why not? You're all welcome. Everybody in this world is welcome to join us and to be part of this great movement. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
All
Rabbi,
right,
for
catch
your-
the Torah wave, everybody, and yes, let's cause it to grow, and we'll see communities develop all around the planet. And so we will be back next week. And for those of you that are listening in, we will be having another live open session Q&A. So if you got any difficult questions with Rabbi Carmi Ingber from Atlanta, Georgia, we'll be joining with our friends over at Nativ in a Zoom room in 2.5 hours, just over 2.5 hours at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. If anybody wants that specific Zoom link to join us, I know Italo comes regularly, always got lots of questions. Yes, you just send me a message in Facebook or whatever, a personal message, and I will give you the Zoom link. Unless, Rabbi, you think it's okay, I can post it here in our meeting here.
Everything is fine. You can post everything.
Okay, I'm going to post it here in the chat room if anybody here wants that. That meeting is, like I say, that is to Nativ is private, Rod Bryant's private Zoom meeting. And that is, like I said, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. That's about midnight, I think, in Jerusalem. So that's live with Rabbi Carmi Ingber of Atlanta, Georgia, a good friend of the Noahide World Center. And he's a sharp rabbi, always got plenty to share, but he has opened this up for a wide open Q&A. If you got any questions you want to ask a rabbi, he'll be there and eager to give you the Torah perspective. So till next week, folks, we're going to sign out of our Genesis class. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody. Thank you very much.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye.